Hey everyone, this is episode 132 of Noodle Time. Welcome back. Here with me is the Young Fox, Juan Pereira. How's it going, sir?
Hey man, I'm doing great. We tried recording this a little bit before, but we had some difficulties. I'm glad to be back here. I've recorded a couple episodes of Instant Ramen. Also did DAC Dispatch yesterday, so I'm getting a little tired of these podcasts. But man, it's always a fun time being with you.
Yeah, just some technical difficulties early in the episode. We were hoping to live stream it, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen tonight. And we just got to keep the show going, especially since I'm taking over for Mark this week because he's not available. And there's a lot to talk about, of course. Dynamo and those having their games for last weekend, and those about to play, coming off a big win, which we'll get into in just a second. But yeah, just a lot to talk about, particularly Dynamo and their, you could say, big result in Seattle. The good news is that they didn't lose this game, which is great. But it was a 0-0 draw, a road draw. The team is just doing pretty good on the road to start the year, which is interesting.
Of course they are.
Interesting. And we can just go ahead and get started with the episode with this talk because 0-0 draw. Initially, I was expecting a pretty difficult game against Seattle if the Houston was ever hoping to get a point, or I can dream of it, but like 3 points out of here because we have never won in Seattle for like the past 15 years since they've been in the league, and it's always been a tough place to play, especially for any team in MLS, regardless of their form. Historically speaking, they've been pretty decent, like at the lowest point. So it's always going to be a tough place to play if you want to get a result out of there. But yeah, Juan, really, what are your initial thoughts from this game? Because like for me, it's just going to be like a very hard fought game, and I feel like that's what I got towards the end.
I expected a loss. Honestly, like as the game got closer, maybe before I would have been more optimistic like I usually am. Like, oh, maybe we'll squeak out a win or a tie. But after the first 10 minutes, I was thinking, yeah, I don't think we come out of this with a win. And then I started to think that we might come out with this with a loss after Bartlow went down with an injury, which just sucked, right? But the guy stepped up. Escobar moved to center back. Steres came in for Bartlow injured and went left back, and the game kind of calmed down. And it became a boring game, which I think for the Dynamo away from home is exactly what you want. In MLS, you want to win your games at home and make the games away from home boring. And I feel like they've done one part of that, which is make the away games definitely boring. Columbus being the first example and Seattle the second. Although I would say this game was a little bit more intense than the Columbus game. But then Maurer went down too in the second half, I believe. Or like end of the first half, beginning of the second half. And I was like, dude, come on, guys. Like, stay on the field. And I thought he was going to stay in. Like, he started jogging around again. I thought, oh, he's good. And then we see Blake Gillingham sub in. Houston Dynamo legend already, but that's not the point. But he came in, and we don't know what to expect. Nobody's really seen him play ever. If you're a Dynamo fan, so there was a little bit of what's going to happen. Is he going to succeed? Are the lights too bright? Because he's playing in front of 30,000 people. It is the biggest crowd in MLS that match week. And there you are, your debut. You have the debut patch on, and you're playing against Seattle. Right? There's not many places I would much rather not debut in. But he did great. He made a couple of key saves that kept us in the match. Aliu came in, added some pace in the second half, and the end result was, aside from the last 10 minutes, a pretty boring game in a tie. And if you're a Dynamo fan, I think you take that 10 out of 10 times.
And just to switch to the offensive talk, because I wasn't really expecting the attack to do a lot of damage here, aside from trying to catch Seattle off their feet. Because as always, like we already started the season with this issue when it comes to like building up those plates, like up until the final third. We start breaking it down towards the final third whenever we try to like get inside the box, and we just end up passing the ball backwards just to see what happens. And it's just we're fortunate. Like we've got at this point, we're just like, what's going to happen? Are we just going to just throw stuff at the wall to see what sticks? And yeah, like just the most positive thing I can definitely take from this game is just like the defensive performance, and of course, like you just mentioned, Blake Gillingham just coming out of nowhere and pulling out all these very important stops to help Houston earn the point in Seattle. Like I definitely at the lowest point they've been in years in terms of opening up the season, because they've always like won at least one game, and we're already 5 games in, and we're just at this position where we haven't won yet, and really we could use like any type of performance to like start building up from there, and not to mention the fact that we're still dealing with injuries. GMR here, our second string goalkeeper, covering for Andrew Tarbell, that is out for the year with an ACL tear. Like it's also potentially out long term. If assuming that things go bad, and I hope things are okay with Jimmy, because we definitely need all the keepers. But Blake Gillingham, man, a lot of credit to him. Like he's got his MLS debut already as a third string keeper,
Amazing.
and we're gonna have to rely on him for the foreseeable future, because I don't, man, like just starting the year like this without the win still, without all these players that were sold or are still injured, and the injuries are happening like this early. It's just a lot to take in for Dynamo fans, but
Yeah, I mean, this game was one of inches. Definitely at the end with Blake Gillingham. I think he was the only true positive we can take from this match, aside from the fact that we got a point. Because take that point away, and this is probably the worst game of the year if we get a loss here, just because of the injuries, right? And the fact that we're down to our third string goalkeeper, our backup CB's down, and who else are we going to call up? Andrade, some D2 guys that are probably like 15 years old. So it could have been really worst case scenario, but Blake Gillingham steps up to the rescue. Defense holds strong, and now we know that Escobar is actually pretty good at center back. Although Ben did mention in the post game press conference that he's a little bit too active as a center back, at least in the beginning of the match when he shifted over to the center back position. Escobar was a little bit antsy, but he definitely calmed down as the game went on. And if worst comes to worst, there you have your backup center back, backup center back. So not much you can say that's good about this match, aside from the point, which we're obviously all very happy with, and Blake Gillingham.
Blake Gillingham. That's all you have to say about this game.
Peak.
And we're definitely gonna need him, assuming that JMR is not gonna recover uh, for the short term. And like I said previously, I hope everything goes well with Jimmy and Bartlow, because we'll need them as soon as possible. But we are still in Cascadia for this weekend, since we're facing Portland Timbers, and it could just be another case of Houston coming in as a road team and just pulling a surprise here. Like standings wise, Portland is doing slightly better than Seattle this early in the year with 2 more points than them.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's still too early to say like who's better than who. And
Yeah.
of course, we are in a pretty difficult situation already. So I feel like anything can happen in the right situation. The same was said against Seattle. And look at us now. We're still down there at the bottom of the Western Conference standings, and a lot can happen. It's still a long season, but Juan, what do you expect out of this game?
For the Portland game, I think this will be a game of attrition, just like the last one. We know how Ben likes to play. I think you can pretty much rule out any offensive play out the window, at least in the first minutes and the last minutes. Oh, wait, now what happens in the middle of the game will be key. Can the Dynamo, after they take the initial wave of Portland pressure, can they start counterattacking? Can they even show off a little bit of the passing that they showed off last year? I believe Jack McGlynn will probably be back for this match too. Just finished up USA duty. We still don't really know. There hasn't been a lot of clarity from the club when he's back and that type of stuff. So if he's back, that's definitely a huge help. And Brooklyn Reigns as well for that depth in midfield, people that know the system pretty well. So it'll be a game of attrition, I'm sure. But I don't know. I can't shake this feeling. I have a feeling that someone like Steres or maybe even Ali you off the bench, someone scores just the most random goal, kind of like last year in Vancouver, to just give us the win or the tie. I have a good feeling coming into this one. If we tied against Seattle, they can tie against anyone. But the question is, can they win some games? And that's still the part that I'm itching on. But I kind of have a good feeling about the next match if they're able to weather this storm.
Yeah, and of course, reinforcements coming in for Houston, which is great to see. Jack McLean and Brooklyn Brains returning for national team duty. Well, yeah, just a lot to take in there, and we'll see how the season turns out for the Dynamo. Still lot of months away to go to turn things around, but we'll still have to see how the team approaches all the tough games ahead. So
Yep.
we'll just have to see. But one team that is not having any tough times as of right now, it's those Houston Dynamo. Those getting their second win in their second game against on that North Texas SC by a score of 5-1. That's a lot of goals right there.
Yep.
And there's just a few more things to talk about. Obviously, well, we do have favorite goals already. How Marcelo Santos is just unlocking this team this early still. And just a couple players to look into. But Juan, tell me your initial thoughts about this game.
Dude, pretty much everybody knows I am the biggest Dynamo 2 nerd out there. Aside from the Dynamo Fan TV guys, I am the biggest nerd. So seeing a golaza against North Texas, the Houston rivals, man, there's few things more beautiful to me than maybe an MLS Cup win. I mean, dude, this was peak. This was incredible. I really don't know how to describe it. Last year, I'm pretty sure you remember, Dynamo 2 were not having a good season to start off.
Yeah.
Similar to the Dynamo, but honestly, even worse. It looked really bad for a little bit there, where we were all talking about, like, development's the key, winning doesn't matter anymore, the season's done. But this year, 2 games in, you have the best offense in MLS Next Pro after the second match week. 5 goals. I mean, and Arzu got on the board. Diego Gonzalez got on the board. And there's just so many young guys here, too. It's not the fact that you score 5 goals in MLS Next Pro. It's the fact that you do it with a lineup that has a lot of teenagers. And the bench has a lot of teenagers. This is pretty much just Child FC right now. I don't think I've ever seen a team full of this many young people. And I'm not saying like Lamine Yamal, 17 years old. Like there's a 14-year-old that played last match. I forgot his name. I don't know why I forgot it, but he was 14 years old in 3 months. Played the game. Matteo Di Morelli, 15 years old, playing every game at the right wing. Arzu on the left, a little bit older, but still a young guy. I mean, with this team, I honestly don't know how to explain it because last year it felt like the team was going to take a step forward. And it felt like in the beginning they took a step back. And this year it felt like, oh, you're letting go of a lot of guys. Femi's going to the first team. Brooklyn Rain's officially no longer going to play with you guys anymore. Like, who's going to replace y'all? And Felipe Andrade and Pedro Cruz have come in and revitalized this team along with their Brazilian manager. And it's beautiful, really. And I love that match.
Yeah, I believe it was Insitia, Sebastian Insitia, because he. But yeah, I had to highlight that point because he's 14 years old, man. He's 14 years old and he's made his professional debut, you could say, with those that night, which is insane. So another player to look forward to, hopefully in the future for the first team. We'll see how it goes, but just being able to come off the bench and just be there is just incredible. It's great to see, and going back to like how the team started last year, because I wanted to say that they started the year losing 5 games straight, and they still were able to clinch a playoff spot at the end of the season. So it's just a type of effort that really intrigues me because the team was just having like a really bad run early in the year last year, and they were just able to turn things around under Kenny Bundy. Of course, this year we do have Marcelo Santos at the helm, which has a ton of experience in MLS Next Pro already, and he's just able to hit the ground running like with his team right here, and not to mention that they started losing this game because of a defensive mistake. Like just the fact that they were just like able to stay focused on the goal, and every time, like you also brought up a good point. Every time they just say that we don't play for wins, it's mostly just like player performance. I always feel like the players want to win all the games. because
Yeah.
it's definitely nice to have playing minutes or a team that's just like able to get you as many playing minutes as you can earn. But whenever like someone in the club just says we just focus on the result, like on the player development, which is understandable, I still feel like the players are just like I'm gonna win this game.
Yeah.
Like I know that we cannot tie it, like even if it goes to a shootout, but I'm gonna win this game
Yeah.
because it goes a long way, especially if you win the championship. No, but yeah, man, this 5-1. Like you can tell me like your favorite goal, but I'm just gonna go ahead and just put out mine because we, of course, if you already know, Diego Gonzalez was coming off his first goal with the first team in
Oof.
the friendly, I guess, in Salvador,
Oof.
and he comes here with a free kick to to put Houston ahead, which is just absolute insanity. Like I think he also fooled the keeper. We only have one angle for all the replays because they only have like one camera on every stream, which is definitely does a disservice to this goal because it was a free kick from the far side of where the camera was set up, and it
Yeah.
was just like it goes in. I guess the keeper was just like looking at something else or it was distracted, but just the range of that free kick and shows once again that Diego Gonzalez is a free kick specialist for us. And I hope to see him in the first team, but this time playing more MLS minutes. It's going to be incredible, and I believe in him wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Man, my favorite goal from this match was definitely the Arsu one, just because of the spin on that ball. I
Yep.
mean, Arsu also coming off of his first senior game, obviously it must feel good for the young guy, even if he didn't play too many minutes. And then he just comes out, cuts inside, and I mean, I'm honest, I'm looking back on this goal, man. I'm gonna think about it for a minute because I don't think I've seen a goal like this since I think Aliu last year, near the beginning of the season. And this is not to draw any comparisons, guys, but like the way he cuts inside and curves that ball in, like, and it was like top bins too. It was a good finish. That's not by luck. Sometimes you can say, oh, the keeper just wasn't well positioned. No, that was just a very nice shot. So that's what I'm going to think about. RSU getting on the scoreboard. I feel like he deserved it. He hasn't scored in a minute. I don't think he scored in the first game. I don't think so. But, I mean, he deserves it, honestly, because he's just come back from an injury. And to score a goal like that in the second game of the season, that's perfect for him. That's a perfect momentum builder for the rest of the season. And we'll see if he takes this confidence into the next game and the next game as they're actually playing right now. So, we'll see if he can build on this confidence.
Yes, and massive win, especially against a rival, especially against the defending champions of MLS Pro. A lot to take in there because this team is just doing amazing so far at the start of the year, and we just hope they just keep at it.
Yes.
And like you mentioned, we do have those playing right now. They are playing Ventura County, which is essentially LA Galaxy 2. And it's still 0-0, so not much to report there, like after 14 minutes. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that game and hopefully have it reviewed for you guys next week whenever we come back and watch the game. But
Yeah,
those,
honestly, right now
yeah,
it's a little. It's been a little chippy. That's I'm gonna say. I'm watching the match is a little chippy. Ventura County almost scored like 30 seconds ago, so this will be tough. Ventura County have always been a kind of a thorn in our side for years. So see how it goes.
yeah. And we do have, I think that's the only game they're playing this week, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, wait, actually, they are playing a second game on Sunday against Minnesota United too. So they do have back-to-back games this week. So gonna keep an eye on that. This game is going on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV, and the game on Sunday is gonna be happening on YouTube, and that's gonna be at 6 p.m. If you can make it to Sabercat Stadium, do it. Support the boys. They definitely deserve it. As you can see, their parents is cheering for them, and you can talk to them. This is here in the background because these kids they give it their everything just to be in that position, and hopefully whatever comes in the future for them, it's great. So looking forward to the growth. Watch those if you haven't already, and I 100% recommend it to give it a shot.
Yes, sir, man. They're playing good. I'm really proud of them. I felt like this year was going to be one a little bit of suffering because Xavier Valdez left, but so far they've been flying. And if they keep it up, and if they can keep playing the way against they played against the MLS Next Pro defending champions, this could be a very successful season for them and for the the front office in general, because these are the guys that you want, like the Houston homegrown talents, right? The guys that you want fans to root for because they were in the near community that you were living in. Like that's what matters. I know Pat has said that he wants a Houston native player on the first team soon, kind of like Memo Rodriguez was for us. So if they can keep developing these players, I have no doubt in my mind that will come very, very soon.
Yeah, and I think it was either Pat or Asher or both that they kept mentioning that this team leads the league in minutes played in the first team for former MLS Next Pro product players. Of course, Mikael comes to mind because he started with those, and he's just able to build himself up to like this beast before leaving to Palmeiras. And we do have a player that it's looking up like it's another defender coming into the first team, and it's a defender that we need right now because it's a 24-year-old Colombian center back Pablo Ortiz coming from DAC Dunajska Streda. I think that's from, if I'm not Slovakia, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
Yeah. And it's a 24-year-old center back. It's gonna be for a loan with an option to buy. That's according to Pipe Sierra. The loan's gonna last through the end of the year. So we're just looking at another a low risk, high reward kind of player if it works out, which is great. We've already seen this before under Pat and Asher, and man, the one thing I can tell you right now is that we need this player right now because we've already lost center back before this year started. Sviatchenko is doubtful. We need that for the center back now.
Yes. Oh my goodness, man. I think this signing will turn out pretty well. Just because I mean, let's just kind of look at this roster. You have I'm slipping. It's Bartlow, it's Femi, then Eric. Mikhail's no longer here. So I guess it's like Andrade in that spot ish. He played the friendly, but he's still a D2 player, and foreign players in MLS. The rules get weird. So the point is, you need another center back like right now. And this guy, I think, can be kind of like that Mikhail type player where it's like, he's coming from, you could say, a similar, better league, right? Early 20s. Although he's 24, he's fast, apparently, and he's left footed, which I think that's the biggest thing right there. You need a left footed center back if you want to play possession football. If you don't have a left footed center back, you're not going to play possession football. It's that simple in the modern game. And Bartlow and Femi don't strike me as those ball progression guys anyway. Eric could do it in a tandem with someone else. So, I mean, you need this player. I hope he's already training with the team. I hope he's already met Ben Olsen, moved his family over here. Tomorrow magically it's announced that he's here and he's available for the next match. That's what I want. But obviously, it might take some time. Maybe by the end of this week, maybe a little bit after that. But hey, we need him. Like, I'll take you. I'm not taking any second chances. Transfer market value looks good. It was like 375,000. So he seems like a good enough player for this league. And I mean, left-footed. I mean, I'll take it all day, baby.
And reinforcements is definitely what we need right now, just to like give this team a facelift. Because last Noodle Time we did talk about Andre Schlinger being the next designated player that hasn't been announced yet, but it's pretty much 99% done. I'm guessing they're just waiting for him to sign before they announce it. And yeah, this one as well. Pablo Ortiz is gonna be announced at any point now. Probably after we post this episode, probably Thursday, Friday. And we're recording on Wednesday night, so we'll see what happens. As if like we have heard a handful of names already in the rumor mill, but Pablo Ortiz is one of those players that it's already been reported by Merlo, which it's essentially just the South American Tom Bogert. So if he says it's going to happen,
yes,
so it's going to happen. So that's two players as reinforcements before the window closes next month. So something to look forward to. Do you think Houston might go for like a third player before the window closes. Obviously, I'd say yeah, but what do you think?
I think they should add a goalkeeper. I
Yes.
don't know. I don't know, guys. That's a thought. Just an idea, guys. But I think Pedro Cruz, obviously talked to him in Instant Ramen. He is not playing today for Houston Dynamo 2, so that is very interesting. It could be that the club is saving him for a possible game next week against Portland. So that's just something to keep an eye on. He wasn't playing. He posted a story of him being in bed, just chilling. So, who knows? Hopefully he's not injured. Hopefully it is just like we need a goalkeeper. But aside from him, I mean, who else you got? Like legitimately, I love Blake Gillingham. I really do. But you just can't be running with one goalkeeper and
Of course.
another D2 guy, right? It's nothing against Blake. It's just everything that has to do with common sense roster structure. You got to give Blake a competitor. Honestly, if he did so well against Seattle that I wouldn't be so quick to give up that spot so easily. I mean, let him. I'd say play him for another game. You did it against Seattle, you can do it against Portland, bro. But no matter what, whether he starts or he doesn't start, you need another goalkeeper. So I do think that would be three. It would be that goalkeeper, Linger, and then Ortiz. And honestly, aside from that, I don't think I see the Dynamo making too many moves. Obviously, I think Andrew Tarbell is going to be put on season-ending injury list, probably. I don't know yet. You're getting two players coming back from injury in Inali and Quinones, and we always talk about when are they going to come back? When are they going to come back? They're coming back soon. I think Quinones is like a month away, Inali right after him. So you're bringing those players, and I think the depth looks good at the winger position, right wing, that inverted forward position looks fine. And your midfield, you have Urso, who proved himself to be very capable, Jack McLean, Brooklyn Reigns. You have players there. It's just the center back positions that were really scary, and even at right back. Now, we finally have some depth with Holiday. He played very well against El Salvador, so I think three max, but it's because of the goalkeeper. So I expect three, no more than three.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a little more flexibility to add a third keeper, which I feel like it's gonna happen eventually. We might just go for like a keeper that has enough experience, and I'm only saying that because like even though Houston made it official that Andrew Tarbell is out for the year, they still didn't make it clear that he's in the season-ending injury list. But I'm 100% sure he's in the season-ending injury list if he's out for the year, because it will be dumb if they're not putting him in that list. Which sucks for, like I said in the previous episode, it was very disappointing, of course, that we started the year already. Andrew Tarbell was essentially, he proved his worth with the team for the past couple of years, and just wanting to get out, to be out of the season like this is just heartbreaking for me. Same goes for Jimmy Maurer. Of course, we just signed him this offseason. I hope his injury is not as bad as it seems.
Yes.
Because we need a keeper.
Yeah.
And Blake Gillingham, he has opportunity of a lifetime right now, because he can prove his worth. His first game was stellar, just based on the circumstances, and he's gonna keep taking advantage of those opportunities, especially against Portland coming up next. So it might just be a keeper. Of course, we do have Linger Ortiz, so we just mentioned. So it's gonna be interesting who we get to pick up if Houston decides to go for another keeper here.
Yeah. I mean, now that the ball is in Houston's court, the excuse has been, we don't have enough depth here. Lodeta was kind of like a panic signing. We just had to make it before the season started because we needed a 10. All this stuff about the excuses, right? That we were giving the front office was giving themselves in a way. The excuse is up. I know the injuries are mounting and all that stuff, but you've got a DP coming right now. You think that's your guy. You're apparently bringing in another center back. The Mikal replacement, that's another guy you need to replace. If we're looking at this roster 1-for-1, whether we like it or not, every position that left is going to be filled. Poco being replaced by this DP10 that we've all been clamoring for. Jack McLean coming in for Hector Herrera. And now Mikael, you're getting another center back, probably first team to replace. So whether we like it or not, that's the replacements. Will they be good or not? That's on us to kind of figure out.
And of course, Quinones and Inali coming in potentially back this summer. And still wishing them the best to just recover and get on the ground running as soon as they get on the field, because when they come back, it's gonna feel unreal.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Quinones and Ali back, man. It's been a minute.
It's been a
I
minute.
miss them because they add so much to this team. Honestly, they really do. And I guess we kind of realized it when you move Ali to the left wing, just how important it is to have a true wide winger. Aliu's not a true wide winger. He likes to cut inside a lot, and I guess not really take players one on one. He's more of a striker. Let's be real, guys. Like he has that striker build. I think it's obvious if Quinones and Ali come back kind of healthy, Aliu will just be the backup to Ponce, just because that's the position where we signed him for, and he looks best. So honestly, I think the difference, if they both come back to their same level, will be substantial, at least on the offensive side of the ball, because we have no counter right now. And from the games we're seeing away from home, we don't want the ball either. So how are we going to score? That's the main question. But hopefully they come back healthy, man. That's the main thing first. Get them back healthy, make sure they're 100%. Then if they're able to play well, they're able to play well.
And fingers crossed that we don't get no more injuries. Knock on wood.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
no,
yes, please.
Please stop. No more. No more.
What have we done to anger Diesel, man? What have we done?
No. Well, yeah. This should do it for this episode for Noodle Time. So, like as always, guys, we do appreciate your continued support. Juan, before we go, you gotta share us these interviews that you're working on that we should be posting up pretty soon. So, what are those about?
Well, for all the Dynamo fans out there, for all the ones that love their team, for all the ones that love Blake Gillingham, the new hero. That's right, we got him on Instant Ramen, man. I was able to schedule an interview today, the same day we're recording. I recorded it around noon, around 1, just 7 minutes, because obviously the man is busy, and we're all busy, but he was able to spare us a little bit of his time. Thank you so much for, personally, I'm going to thank him. Thank you so much for this. It was great to talk to him. Really nice guy. Got some good quotes out of him, and I think for any fan who's just suddenly Blake Gillingham's your favorite player, I think this interview will do justice to kind of show who he is, not only as a player, but as a person, his cool, calm collectiveness. And in general, he's just a really nice guy. Really nice guy. And I can't wait for all of you guys to listen to that one. And afterwards, that's when I recorded a couple of days ago, but we're gonna release it after the Blake Gillingham one. It's with the leader of the El Batallon Youth Supporters Group. Really nice guy. You'll be surprised by his age and his maturity and what he's been able to achieve in such a short amount of time. So yeah, I'll be dropping both of those very, very soon. I'm trying to get Instant Ramen up as high as possible. The last one did great with Pedro Cruz, and I hope you guys are able to run this one up with Blake Gillingham as well.
And Juan is doing an incredible job, like scheduling those interviews, because they're very tricky to get, especially the only window of availability is in the morning after training. Sometimes you have to wait like 10 minutes for the players to come in. Sometimes you have to wait 2 hours for the players to come in, which is not ideal. And Juan is working very hard to get those interviews. So, which we do definitely appreciate that.
Thank you, man. But look, honestly, this time I'll give my props. Leo, man, everybody there at the Houston Dynamo FC staff. This time, they said they were going to start at 1. I'm going to be real. I was very skeptic about that. I was like, no, I'm going to have to reschedule this. But he said, we can do 10:10. No, we can do 1:10. I'm like, that works. And they were able to get it done, makeshift, everything. But it really did work out well. So thank you to them. Obviously, it's hard with the players because they like to do their own thing. But this one worked out pretty well. And if this one keeps on going well and you guys keep liking it, I will have no problem scheduling more and more with some Dynamo players, maybe even Dash players. But we got to see the views.
Yeah, and all the views that we're getting, like both on video and audio, are great. And as always, guys, we do appreciate your continued support. Instant Ramen, kind of like Noodle Time, you're going to be seeing them all in one place, especially whenever you get your podcast. Just search Noodle Time. You're going to see us there. If we're missing a specific platform you want us to be, just let me know. Hit me in the comments, either on YouTube or wherever you're listening. And also, on video, we are going to be on YouTube always, no matter what. I just search Foxtrot TV on the search bar. We're right there. And of course, you can just watch YouTube wherever at this point. But also, another interesting platform, Ghost TV. If you haven't heard of that platform, it's a great place to find all soccer creators like us, not just Dynamo related, but just like, honestly, like any team you can think of. It's probably most likely in Ghost TV already. So If you haven't already, give goals.tv a shot. Our handle there is goals.tv/at Dynamic Foxtrot, and that's gonna be goals spelled GOLZ. So give it a shot if you haven't already, guys. And of course, Juan is still working on Fox in the Box, a weekly newsletter. If you haven't checked it out already, it's pulling numbers. It's doing amazing. Essentially, just bite-sized content straight to your inbox. If you subscribe, if you don't, that's fine. You can always check it out whenever we post it on our social media. Which, by the way, at Dynamic Foxtrot on Twitter, now called X, Blue Sky, also on Instagram, and we also do have a separate handle on X called Noodle Tiempo. Check it out as well to keep you updated throughout the season. And yeah, that should do it for now. And as always on Ko-fi, our blog, where we put all of our content in one place, and also all the links to the podcast are going to be there. So keep an eye on our social media all year long. It's only still March, and there's still a long way to go. A lot more content, a lot more of material for you guys to enjoy every single week of the season.
Sir. Yep, we were just getting started this year. This year's it's felt like a couple years, honestly. This year's oh my goodness, but we're just getting started, and in a way, I'm kind of excited because this summer is also going to be full of other Houston non-Dynamos type of stuff with the Gold Cup and all that stuff, man. So I'm excited, and I hope everybody else is excited.
Gold Cup, Club World Cup. Man, there's apparently the World Cup's happening next year.
Oh my!
I don't know if you heard about it, but
oh wow, I had no idea.
No, it's busy soccering in Houston right now, so it's gonna be incredible.
We'll see if Messi shows up for the World Cup, knowing that Houston's a host city. We know he doesn't like to come here. We'll see.
If we get to host Argentina, that will be incredible. Of course, if you're on already, Messi got the all-time scoring record for the Argentina national team in Houston after he scored the free kick against the U.S. in the 2016 Copa America. So, fun fact there if you don't remember. So
maybe he won't dodge us after all. Maybe he just wants to dodge Griffin Dorsey.
Of course. That's why he didn't show up, but oh well. I get with Inter Miami, but we don't talk about that game. But
yeah, obviously.
Yeah, let's end it here. Guys, once again, thank you so much for your continued support, your likes, comments, subscriptions, all the follows, your feedback. It's very valuable to us, and we do appreciate it every single day. And as always, guys, stay noodle, and we'll see you in the next one.